Ladies and gentlemen, we are live with another broadcast in the Roofing on the Rise studios, where we are sponsored by Chad T. Wilson Law Firm. Chad T. Wilson Law Firm is located here in the Houston area, and they handle first-party insurance claims. If you are a contractor, a homeowner, or property owner in the area or the surrounding states, we would love to help you out if you need any help with insurance claims. Here's the thing. Insurance claims love to deny, delay, and defend. I always get that kind of jumped up. But they always do this because they want to save money. So let's make sure that you get taken care of with your insurance claim by giving me a call. Telephone number is 210-919-8987. Again, 210-919-8987. We are also sponsored by Roofing Supply Incorporated here in the Houston marketplace, where you can get your shingles directly from me. Telephone number is 210-919-8987. And last but not least, we are also sponsored by West Group Public Adjusters. Again, when the insurance company denies, delays, or defends their position, reach out. West Group may be the right firm for you. Today and every day, we have an awesome guest that provides immense value. And today, we are graced again with Chuck's presence. Chuck, I am so happy to have you along again. There's so much stuff that's going new. How are you doing today?
Man, I'm doing really well. Top Rep is doing amazing. Anybody that has been to Top Rep over just the last 6 months will know that everything is going really, really well. So many great things are happening on this end.
Man, I just see just continued content that's posted all the time. It's almost as if it's all the time. And I like that. That's a big thing about marketing. I love to see the smile because it's like, it's working.
It is working, yes.
And what's great is that the clips that I'm seeing online are super monumental and powerful clips. And that's a real big puller to a lot of people that have said, well, hey, man, there's something going on here at Top Rep. I just don't know what it is yet because I haven't been. And I'm pretty excited about that, man. So tell me what's new over there. I know there's some stuff that's kind of like brewing or what have you. Whatever you can talk about, let's jump in.
Man, so if you were at Top Rep, we had a legendary Top Rep in Wilmington, North Carolina, just a couple weeks ago. And just everything's pouring in on how this was absolutely life-changing. I mean, with the new people that we're bringing into Top Rep, the new coaches, the new professionals, we don't just bring in certified coaches. God, I hate that word. We don't just bring in people, we teach them how to coach, and then, hey, these are people that are the best in their business, and then we bring them in. We work a lot with people like Tony Hody, Megan Beatty, Bob Quillen. These are some of the legendary people inside of home improvement that we give you access to, whether it's inside of Top Rep or just a partner to Top Rep. I mean, you'll get a chance to see these people. They got a chance to see them at Top Rep just a couple weeks ago. And the information inside of Top Rep. So Top Rep is a boot camp. It's a boot camp for not only the sales reps, but also the sales leaders and owners. And these owners got a treat. I mean, they got Bob Quillen getting deep into the P&Ls on how to engineer your P&L. These people that are selling there's a thing out there right now, people out there right now saying, hey, you have to be at $10 million, which means you're at $1 million EBITDA to be able to be sold. That is absolutely not true. And Bob Quillen did math right there at Top Rep to show why a lot of our attendees and a lot of our clients are doing this much, much less than 10 million and getting more than they're actually selling. We have a client that was actually there. We had him on stage, and he was selling about 6.5 a year, but his net was close to 30%. Most people's gross is at 30%. Right. His net is at 30% by the way that he engineers his P&Ls. Now, these aren't fake numbers or anything like that. He actually nets that 30%. And so when those PEs are starting to look at him, they're like, hey, this is crazy. We want you. They're almost willing to pay just about anything to get him. And there's a lot of other. What's that?
Let's slow down. Let's slow down just a second. What do you? I love having conversations with you because you provide so much value. It's insane. But I want to slow down and talk about private equity. I don't know if you can hear that. That is,
I can't hear it.
Okay, I'm having some feedback over here, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think about private equity entering the roofing space, and what could that mean for maybe some of the smaller guys?
So here's the thing with private equity is, I will say a lot of the companies that are getting bought up by private equity, you're also seeing a lot of failure because they buy these companies up. A lot of the people are scattering, or they're nervous, and the company just doesn't do well as it was. Or the owner, they exit and then they put in a new GM, and maybe they're not mixing well with the new GM. Now, if they do it right, and some of these, I will say some of these PEs are doing it correctly, and they're coming in, they're asking the people to stay for a little while longer, but they're not so much asking them to stay for like 3 years or 4 years. They're asking them to stay for several months, maybe 3, 4, 5 months, because they know that that owner that's there, once they get bought out, I mean, at that point, their mind's somewhere else. So if they're going to let them stay there for 2 years, they're not going to be all in, to tell you the truth. They're into the fact that they just got so many millions of dollars put in their bank account. I'm not saying they don't care, but they don't care as much as they did prior. The other part of this is they bought into this organization and they really don't know what they bought. They bought a bunch of numbers. And so when it comes to PE buying up these companies, it's not what everybody thinks, that, oh my gosh, they're going to buy up the entire inventory, they're going to push us out. I've actually had someone say that they're going to go in, start negotiating lower prices, and they're going to push us out. That's not going to happen either, just so you know. It would be incredibly poor decision, an incredibly poor decision if the supplier said, all right, hey, so you're sending me so much business, we're going to drop your prices way down. They have to know that this is a PE. They're going to be buying things out, and that PE will also put them out of business if they're not careful. Because it's the little guy, just like anything else, it's the little companies that keep these companies in business, whether they want to look at it that way or not. And so if they, when we look at a lot of these smaller organizations, they're also more nimble than a lot of these companies that are being bought up, that now they're these massive organizations, that's easier to beat some of these bigger organizations. And I know I'm going to get phone calls after this because most of my clients are very large, but these smaller organizations can beat these bigger organizations because they're more nimble.
Yeah, I agree. There's not a bunch of fat that you have to work with, right? And I'll dive into that to be less obscure. Overhead is a lot smaller on these smaller companies. So if you're out there, you don't quite understand what he's saying. It's easier to do business as a smaller guy and win sometimes, because a lot of those companies, they have such a large overhead that they have to price those jobs that high. So sometimes they do price themselves out of a job, and they don't even mean to. I think that the largest issue or the largest concern is that and I think you hit both of them. Kind of the first one for me would be the service. So as soon as PE completely takes over that company, that service isn't going to remain the same, because it's not privately owned. It's now owned by a corporation. And so that right there is completely different. Then you go into the supply space as well. And so and I'm glad that you spoke about that, because that's something that is on a lot of people's mind right now. And rightly so, because manufacturers consistently hold the bag, and they figured out that if we can hold an allocation on shingles and then raise the price, and they never can catch up if they only have like 3-4 months worth of stock, not 5, 6, 7, 8 months of stock, that the prices will stay the same and go up, not go down. And so it's not necessarily distributor or even private equity's fault in this case, but it's the fault of the manufacturers. I know this is a little off subject, but do you have anything to say about that?
The one thing that I want to shout out is like with these suppliers and what I have with the meetings that I've had with some of the suppliers, they do understand that one thing that they're going to keep from is the tail wagging the dog. Right. So they're, a lot of them, their biggest fear are these big organizations. Yeah. Because they want to come in, they want to push their weight around. And the last thing a supplier wants is somebody with heavy weight, Right. They're coming in demanding that they get lower prices or they're going to go somewhere else. So if these suppliers can work together, they can keep the playing field level.
Correct.
They can keep the integrity the way it should be. They can keep the small businesses alive because the country is made up of small business. We can't lose sight of that. Right. And that's what I love so much about roofing is it's a low barrier of entry. And, if you have integrity, you can build. If you don't, you'll stay small, whatever. But you can continue to build. But that's the beauty behind our country. And the suppliers are starting to realize that as well. So hats off to them.
Yeah, I sit in these meetings and those are some of the conversations that are had is, how do we keep the market from, doing this or that? And I find it very interesting at how, a lot of people, they're like, this major box store, this major box store, this major box store are all different. I don't like this guy. I really like this guy. Man, I hate this guy. And what's hilarious is that all the guys that own and manage those, they're all friends. Mm-hmm. And they all sell to each other.
Yeah, they do.
And they're all talking about pricing. And they all want one thing. And that is for everyone to prosper in the area.
Yeah.
There's plenty of work out there.
Yeah.
So let's dive in. Politics have been getting crazy. Politics of roofing has been getting crazy as well. What do you think about everything going on in the roofing space, innovation wise? What's your favorite innovative product right now besides Top Rep? Because Top Rep's,
I'll tell you, my favorite is Rilla. It's not a favorite of a lot of the sales reps until they really get in and use it. But I really enjoy Rilla just because it gives you that opportunity to see yourself that you can't get the chance to see. You can hear yourself, you can score yourself, and then AI will actually grade you. So Rilla, what Rilla is you take your phone or your iPad and you go ahead and hit start on Rilla, and you can put it in your pocket. That's how good this is. And it records everything that happens in the house. It transcribes it. Now, as soon as someone says, "Oh my gosh, that's illegal. You can't record." There are states that will need two-party, but most don't. And if you actually think that a sales leader or anybody is going to listen all the way through that appointment, you're crazy.
Right.
So nobody's listening to that. It's being transcribed, it's being broken down, and we can listen to certain pieces and parts. And what we're listening to is how that sales rep did what they did in the house. Now we have top reps that we can take and we say, hey, they did this, and we can bring that over to our average or lower performers. But that's, I don't want to get totally into that, but that is my favorite thing that is innovative right now inside of the roofing space.
Innovative sales tool. Can it be used in any sales door to door?
It can be used at anything. Yeah. It's, we have seen a couple of companies use it for door knocking, but it's mainly used for an appointment. So it'll actually, it'll attach itself to your calendar, and it'll say that it was this customer at this time. So you can categorize those customers.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It is very cool.
All right, I want to talk about another thing. See if you have any opinion on it. It's a little different.
I'm
Solar.
waiting for you to ask me a certain question, man. I saw it. I saw it
Solar.
up on social media today.
Oh, I don't.
Uh,
I don't. We're definitely not getting into that at all. Um, as much as I'd love to touch that, I'm just not. Um, solar, right? Like, so do you? What do you think about like this solar revolution, and how do you think that roofing companies should align themselves with solar companies today?
So Jim Johnson and Jay Haynes just did I don't know if they call it a podcast, a webinar that really nails it down. I suggest anybody jump on. I think Top Rep had it, CCP had it, and I want to say Jay had it on his page too. But they had, I think it was like 2 hours, an hour or 2 hours that really nailed the whole solar market. And what they showed you is bringing solar in-house and not doing this whole, hey, I'm going to sell solar and I'm going to send it out. That's where things go haywire. But if you really want to sell solar and do it right, you bring it in-house. That's truly how solar should be done.
Okay, so what would be your opinion, not necessarily Jim's or that organization, what's your opinion on how you would bring in a solar organization to a roofing company?
That right there, so we really position ourselves on the roofing side. We haven't really ventured into the solar, so I don't really want to give so much of my opinion on that as of yet. We are working on it right now, but not ready to give you that answer as of yet.
No worries. Hey, I went to a solar mastermind last week, actually a week ago today. It's pretty interesting, and I found a vendor there that is on the sales rep side to help keep commissions in the sales rep's pocket and out of the sales organization's pocket, right? Not necessarily that that they're not going to pay the sales organization, but that this keeps the sales organization in line, almost like Inc, right? That new Inc payments. It's almost like Inc payments, but it's for solar organizations with their sales reps, and it keeps the solar organization honest. So that's one thing that I'll say that's innovative in the solar marketplace that I've seen in the last 30 days that I really, really liked. So let's jump back into roofing, right? I rarely hit spots that people won't talk about, so that's cool. I hit one of those marks today.
Yeah, you did.
I feel like I've gotten somewhere here with this podcast thing now.
Yeah, we know quite a bit about solar.
Let's jump into the roofing.
Everything is
do you
changing
talk about
with
inspections
solar right now.
How important is an inspection with do what?
I was just saying everything is changing so much with solar right now. I mean, it's
yeah.
And I don't think it's unchanging.
I'd say the same with roofing. It's I feel like and this is something I wanted to talk about. This is the next item is retail sales opposed to insurance sales. What's your take on that?
So I am huge on retail, both on insurance and retail. You know, taking the insurance claim, taking it retail, so that insurance restoration company can get what they need. They can get the roof changed out, and they can move on to the next customer. That's what I like so much about this. We did a whole webinar. You can get on our Facebook page and watch it for free. But me and Chris Scoville went into exactly how to turn an insurance job into retail. And we had a company down south, very large company, that decided that they were no longer going to entertain any insurance jobs. They were 100% insurance restoration. Really? And so we trained them in November. In December, they informed everybody that as of January 1st, they were no longer taking it. And they did over $1 million in retail claims in January, or retail business in January, turning insurance into retail. And the owner sent me and you could probably still see it on Facebook, where they sent me a text saying they will never take an insurance job again with how easy it was. So
I've seen
you
that,
can do it on either side, but we love to do it.
That's what prompted this question, really, is because I seen that, and it really intrigued me, because this is something that's being spoke about in the roofing industry right now, about retail versus insurance, where the insurance is going, where everyone really thinks that these insurance carriers are going to take this industry, because ultimately they hold the bag, and that's part of the problem with selling jobs sometimes with insurance. It's ACV, they didn't pay it, they won't pay the supplement, yada yada yada, whatever. I'm pretty big on that as well, because when you have a payment, and there's plenty of people that are out here that have done that before, that have taught this as well. Maybe not necessarily articulated it as well as you have, Chuck, but that understand that if you take an insurance claim at face value, and you go to a client and you say, okay, we need to replace XYZ, yada, yada, yada. Also, the homeowner, generally, if it's not just all roofing, if it's inside their house, they know it needs to be replaced. They're looking at it, they're living with it.
Yeah.
And they don't have the time to wait. I mean, I was talking to a dry out company this morning, not a remediation. They pulled demo dry out, and he was talking about the same thing, where he absolutely will not work with insurance whatsoever. He'll work with the GC that has the insurance, but he's not dealing with the insurance company at all, because, well, he needs to do it for 5 days. Well, we're only going to pay for 3. And it's like, well, Mr. Insurance Man, it's going to take 5 days. And I'm going to keep my stuff in there for 5 days, because you have no idea what the humidity is. You have no idea how dry it is. You don't know the differences between these two. And that company is licensed for that. And so I find it really, really important that contractors find their way, right? And find the right way of doing business, whatever works best for them.
Right. We should not move what it is that we feel that our services require, as well as what price it demands, by the way that an insurance company pays. We go in, and how we typically would do this is we go in, we start the insurance process, we let them know that I'm going to jump up there, I'm going to take a look, and if you need to file the claim, we can help you to understand how that works. And then we let them know that we can go one of 2 ways. We can go the insurance route, and just so you know, this can take 4 to 8 weeks to get anything done. Or we can go the fast tracks route, we can get this thing done in 2 weeks if you qualify. And it's funny, when it's like a takeaway sale from old school selling.
If you qualify.
Yeah.
If you qualify.
No, do I qualify? Yeah.
That's like, oh man, that is so psychological right there. That's I don't know if you want it. I love that. That's awesome. It does.
And we've been doing it 20 years.
When people hear stuff like that, those types of phrases, and I spoke to someone else that is really big on psychological selling. And that's that's one phrase of the psychological sale. Freaking love it. I'm sorry to interrupt you. It just hits home. It's like, dude, that right there, if you're watching, that phrase right there is a part of the reason why Top Rep is where they're at right now. Because that right there, listen, that made me want to, like, hey, here's my credit. Like, here's my credit app. It made me want to give you a credit app, like, immediately. Please make sure that I can qualify, because then it's like, it's that FOMO. Oh wait, I don't qualify. Wait. Can I qualify though? Do you have any pre-qualifiers? So I think that's awesome. You take the sale from a completely different place, from a spot in which that a lot of people maybe crumble, right? Or yes, ma'am. Right. And I've heard you say this as well, not to be a yes man or a yes woman, right? Or a yes rep, but to actually do the sale, man. And that's a part of the reason why I like what you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, what's the biggest goal where it comes to top rep training contractors?
So our biggest goal is to train the sales manager. We want sustainability. Everything, and with anybody that's ever even come in and coached with us, they've heard this time and time again. My job is to work myself out of a job. My job is not to be your coach for 12 months. I hate these coaches. They're like, yeah, we're going to be with you for 12 months at 60,000. What in the hell are you going to teach them for 12 months? You know, it's crazy when you see these coaches and they really don't know what they're doing. Most of these coaches, I'm gonna throw this out there. If a coach tells you that this is what I'm going to offer you, and it's $60,000, they just told you they don't know what they're doing. They're going to lock you into a contract. When you find out they don't know what you're doing, they still got your 60,000. Doesn't matter.
That is true.
I mean, I can see the steam coming out of your ears and probably thousands of others when they hear this, because they've all been caught up in this crap.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
For us, we want to train the sales manager. We want to get in with the owner because we want sustainability. For us, it's our reputation that means everything. And so when people keep going back out, and as you're seeing more and more, when people say, hey, we want a sales training process, you know, it used to have all these different names. Now it's top rep, top rep, top rep, top rep, because it's getting around that when we come in and we train, it sticks. You know, it's not just, I hope you filmed it so that you can learn it because I'm gone tomorrow. I mean, we're there to train the right people, training the trainers so that it's a sustainable training process.
Training the trainers. That's super important. For so long, so many people, they go out there and they look for a training system to implement into their sales team that they could just plug and play, right?
Right.
What's beside, and I know we've already been talking about a bunch of value, but besides what we've already talked about, what do you feel is the biggest value, the biggest adder to top rep?
The biggest adder? I don't know. What are you talking about?
Like, what would be the big, for a company coming in to top rep, that would say, has looked at this sales system, this sales system, this sales system, this sales system. What do you feel is like the icing on the cake?
So the fact that we actually teach you how to close. Every other sales trainer teaches you how to open it up, but they never teach you actually how to close the deal. I have yet. I've gone through and we have, because I'm a student. If I see a system out there, I'm going to subscribe to it. I'll buy it to figure it out. And I get frustrated because they teach you how to go through the process, but nobody teaches you how to go to the distance with a homeowner. Nobody teaches you when the homeowner says, well, we know you've done a great job, but we need to think about it. Man, you're way too much. Man, you're a competitor down the street. And we teach you the easy way. And we're going to tell you that it's low to no pressure. There is nothing high pressure. If you're at the last top rep, we told everybody, raise your hand if at any time you feel that I'm pressuring you to do anything. And at the very end, we asked everybody, nobody raised their hand. Now, are you just being nice, or does anybody out here think that I pressured them? And everybody's like, no, I'm bought in and still feel like no pressure was given to me at all.
No pressure sales.
We teach you how to close.
I feel like it's always about the objection and not necessarily about how to get through the objection. And I am so glad that you said that. It's super important that as a rep that you go out there and you understand how to navigate those waters, because if you just knock some dirt into it and muddy it, it's not going to do anything for you, and it's definitely not going to close that sale. And it's only going to leave that consumer with that bad taste in their mouth about you or their organization that you're a part of. I know I've said it before, but I got to get to top rep. I want to come. I've got to come.
Come on
I've got
out,
to
man.
come. I need to. When's the next one?
So the next one is going to be in August. We're thinking the 19th and 20th. That those dates aren't final yet. Actually, my wife went to Columbus today to go look at a couple of venues, but we know it's going to be in August. We know it's going to be in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay, August, Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it first here. Chuck, what's the biggest takeaway that you'd say from this episode for anyone that's watching?
I'm hoping that when people go through this episode, I'm hoping that what they're picking up is that there is training out there. There is something that they can hold. A lot of what we have is absolutely free. If you get into our Facebook page, we give away most of our information absolutely free. I mean, you said it yourself, all the content that we give. Literally, I stand in front of my whether my phone or the camera, and just as I'm coaching, I'm giving it away. So I just want that to be out there, that a lot of the information that they want is actually free.
Ladies and gentlemen, free information right here on Facebook. You just got to look it up, click top rep, click on Chuck. What's your last, how do you pronounce your last name?
Thokey, but it's
Thokey.
Spelled Thokey. The H is silent.
Thokey. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't want to slaughter that. Chuck Thokey, reach out, click. I know there's like a little blue check mark, I believe, right next to the name. So click on that. Yes. It's a real person, and you can see this free content about how to be a better top rep. Ladies and gentlemen, we're sponsored by Chad T. Wilson Law Firm here in the Houston marketplace. Chad T. Wilson is a first-party insurance law firm that can help you whenever you run into an issue where the insurance company denies, delays, or defends their position. You can reach me at telephone number 210-919-8987, and I'll get you connected with the right person over at Chad T. Wilson. We're also sponsored by Roofing Supply Incorporated here in the Houston marketplace, where you can get just about any material known to man here from me. Telephone number is 210-919-8987. And all over the place, so give me a chance. We're also sponsored by West Group Public Adjusters. Thank you so much, West Group. If you're looking for an awesome public adjuster or a appraiser, reach out. Telephone number again is the same, 210-919-8987. Chuck, I want to thank you once again for coming along and just being able to provide the value that you provide and the friendship. Thank you so much, Chuck.
Thank you.
You guys have a wonderful day, and tune in Saturdays, 10 a.m. on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.